What's going on? It's your boy Shoge Kami, and I'm here with One Piece chapter 1149. This chapter is titled 1 Second, so I'm just going to go from the top. First thing I noticed from this chapter is that the Straw Hats are all witnessing, that's Brook, Usopp, Nami, Chopper, Robin, and Jinbei all witnessing this hockey mastery being put on a show by Gabon, and I think this could be the correct steps in taking to make sure that these characters are learning hockey and are leveling up in this arc. One thing that I'm noticing from this arc is it seems that the books actually are getting successfully burned in a bit, and as Robin notices that as well, I think that Robin could be a character who is in prime position to be fighting Killingham now. Even if Robin did fight Summers in the beginning for a little bit, I think that Killingham could be more of her target since he is now like setting fire to these books, and that could put Robin in like just an ample fighting position, and we would love to see Robin in a fight. And this could be, since there's so many Straw Hats at the moment here, I would love to see that being set up that way. I think Jinbei keeps asking questions like, oh, we don't know his ability, this isn't a good matchup, whatever. I think that one of the things that could be happening here is that Jinbei could be somebody who ends up fighting Summers. Now, just talking about Gabon, who was fighting Summers in the beginning, Gabon has been a depiction for just showing how strong he is, and then he goes and he fights Gunko, and Gunko like basically uses Colin, who snitches on himself, as a hostage, and Gabon just couldn't have Colin take damage for his sake, you know, even though he would have saved the day. He just couldn't do it. He couldn't bear himself because, as it's noted in this chapter, Colin, his son, is his treasure, his love of, that he loves more than anything. So he just lets Gunko attack him basically, and then we see Chopper jump down. So it's assumed that Chopper is gonna go try and save Gabon, and now that they're gonna be underneath the forest, or they're gonna be in the forest where Luffy and Loki are recovering, you know, it's possible that Chopper attends to both of them and asks some questions and then updates the rest of the crew as to what's going on above, causing them to make a move. Now that moment really does remind you of Dragon's words in 1101, where it's like a parent's vulnerability is their children, and I think that like rings real true in this chapter because of Gabon's actions. One line that stuck out to me is Gunko. She says, "A life once lost will never return." Now Gunko, I feel like she's referring to herself, because we know by the end of this chapter that there was a life that she had lived previously in which she knew Brook, and we knew that Brook was alone for 50 years. So this could have, like, that implies that Gunko's been alive this entire time, that Brook was alive and lonely. So they're kind of mirroring each other in that way. But similar to Kuma, Gunko is like living like a small soul inside of this vestige, you know. She's barely alive inside her body. She had a moment of coming back to life, and Imu shows back up and takes control of her whole body. And I think that she basically was a slave in some way and given powers and an ability and a way for Imu to control through her. And so she basically knows not to even try. It is surprising that she did react to Brook's music before, and that this connection is here. I do not think Brook is her father, but I do think that Brook had some type of connection to her, and for whatever reason Imu took a liking to her and decided to take her under the fold and imbue her with power. So we have to kind of see what's going on there, but I do not want to hear any slander on my man Brook. I know that Brook isn't a deadbeat father of the year like some of the other guys. And lastly, like I mentioned, Mu is arriving, descending upon Elbaf, which I didn't expect to happen. Now Mu does mention that Mary Joelle is on fire, so the two prime suspects in this could be either the Revolutionary Army or it could be Blackbeard. Now we do know Blackbeard has like a way to get into Mary Joelle, as he has one of his people can basically imitate Saint Saturn and look like Saint Saturn, but it could just be anything. We do know Dragon was on his way to Mary Joelle and Blackbeard was tailing Dragon, so there just is a lot of things that could be going on. But more importantly, Mu has arrived on Elbaf in the under the guise of Gunko. So I'm curious as to what Mu is going to do immediately. Is it going to be just straight decimation? People are going to have to get up and throw hands? There's no one there but the Straw Hats. So who's going to arrive? Or the Straw Hats going to have to basically like 6 or 7v1 this thing right now? It's 6v1. We still need an update about Frankie, what he's doing over there. I think that we'll see a little bit of Frankie in the next chapter, and then probably gone to Loki and on that end to see what Luffy's doing. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought of this chapter. Thought of the great chapter, straight to the point, makes you think a lot, and you really got to see a good showcase Bond and his abilities. Axe Symphony, I didn't expect him to have a music themed fighting style. I do want to see Loki in the next chapter. I want to see what the monster trio is up to down there, and I do want to give a special shout out to Anime North. I took part in their One Piece hard trivia. I got 3rd place, and I won this this figure of Sanji. Sanji he's a really cool Straw Hat. I cosplayed as him one year for Halloween, and he was actually in this outfit. So this actually means a lot to me that I got to win this one. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this chapter of One Piece. This is Toge Kami, signing out.